So 30 minutes after lunch, digesting starts. I try to do it quick for you, and in fact, I'm just here to tell a story, so it's pretty easy going for you, and I hope you will enjoy that story. So for Quebec City Airport, we did the first project 5 years ago, but before we enter that project and define it, I want to talk about a bit about the airport itself over the last years. After that, we enter the project, and I will show you also the vision we have for the future. So I hope by this presentation we will be able to show all owners another way of going, and maybe how we track the path on this project, and hopefully you will take what we did for trying to do it so. So first of all, for the YQB airport, we are airport based in Quebec City. That's the French part of Canada, obviously. That's us now, what you see. There was a lot of improvements over the last years. I will show you that. But before, I just want to tell you what is the vision of the airport. I will say for the record that I know it in French by heart. But I will read it in English because I don't want to mess it up. But for the direction, I know it in French pretty well. So our mission is to offer quality, efficient, and secure services and infrastructure capable of sustaining growth in air traffic to consolidate its role as a major socioeconomic force in the greater Quebec City area. And our vision is basically to have facilities that can receive more than 2 million of passengers by 2020, which we achieved now, and also to be positioned amongst the top 10 airports in the country. So I think we are pretty close to that. For the infrastructure, we are. For the number of passengers, we're yet to be there. And also, there was a big change made to the YQB airport in 2002, while we changed everything, in fact. If we go back to 2002, it was under Transport Canada. So we had old infrastructure, used infrastructure, and once the privatization of the airport arrived, it became Quebec City, Aéroport de Québec Inc., who started to manage the airport. And that's when the CEO of the enterprise had a big vision, and he said, we will change the way we do airport management. We will think about the passenger. So the motto we had till now is passenger first, and we continue to make that live, and it's a big contradiction with what was done in the past, because before the airports were going for the airlines. The more airlines you have, the more flight you will have, and then you will have some passengers. What we're doing is that we try to do the best experience for the passengers, so they will come to Quebec City, and then there will have some airlines interested to have those passengers on their seat and develop some flights. So it worked pretty well. For the 15th year in a row, we are having records in the passenger we are receiving at the airport. Also, we have a compound growth rate of approximately 7% since 2002, which is pretty good for an airport. And that's why we believe the motto, passenger first, is a good thing for us. So what we did over the years, I will show you quickly. I don't want to go in big details, but that's what we wore in 2002. That's the only picture I have. Sadly, I asked the communication department to have more pictures. They said they don't. Maybe they are too ashamed of, or I think they just burned it, honestly. So everybody laughed at this. They said we were a bushed airport and we weren't going anywhere else. So that's where we took the decision to invest in the infrastructure and go away with that airport and build something new. So in 2008 and 2010, we started to do the infrastructure work. We went for the civil works, for the tarmac and all those stuff. We did more in 2011, and after that, the big project starts. So you will see on the screen, I think, Jerry, it's always the same image there, which is not on the presentation. So, okay, so that's supposed to be the end one. So you see that we did a lot on the runways. We did a lot on the infrastructure we have for the airplanes. We did a lot of building infrastructure also. We had some parking additions. We added a firehouse there close to the runway to make it easy access for everyone, so if there is an emergency. And in black, what you see in black, in fact, is the project YQB 2018 that we started in 2015. So if we go on in the project YQB 2018, I will just show you a quick video that summarizes and it sums it up pretty well. I think it's you that's going to start it because it won't start directly there. So we're now open till 2017. I think I played this video much more for me than for you because we're always proud to see what we accomplished over the years, and it's always nice to see it summarized as that. I just want to do a quick overview of the project compared to the organization. So when the project started, it was a $277 million project with 37 sub-projects in it. If we compare it with YQB Airport, it's an airport that has annual incomes of $61 million. And also we had more than 350 professionals and workers on site for the old project. As comparison with the airport, it is 165 employees for the last year. So when we saw that and we were a kid, there's an issue here because we're doing a project that is much more bigger than the organization itself. How are we going to manage it? So that's when we go to the management team and what they did. In fact, the guy you see there is the CEO of the airport, is the one that thought of the passenger first motto and those stuff. But he is also the one who had who believed a lot in the BIM industry. So we started to talk about it 10 years before we started the project. And when the project arrived officially, he said, we will do it as a full BIM project. So that made it easy for us as a project team to start managing a BIM project because they were already true believers in the management team. So we were not always there to say, okay, we'll try to do this thing because BIM tells us to do that. We were more there to experiment, and we have had the full control over it. Also, what I'd like to say about that is that when we come at those kind of events, we also receive as owners the comments, why don't you go in BIM? Why don't you make it mandatory? And if you do it, we will, as professionals, start building our BIM expertise and start doing that stuff. When we said we will go in BIM, the professional and contractors said, whoa, are you serious? You're going BIM, we're not ready for that, what are we going to do? So they were not able to take the risk, and the way to take risk for them was to overcharge the project. So that's when we said, okay, there's a problem for us too. We're going to pay way much more than what it is worth. So what they decided to do, and I think that's a very big decision they did, and that's one of the big milestones that helped the project go right. They decided to take the risk on the airport. So we said to the professional, what is your hour rate? We will negotiate this hour rate, and then we will do the BIM project as a full BIM project the way we want it to be done. And that's when we started. So that's the first big decision. And after that, the second big decision I think they did is to create a matrix-based project team. So I will show you quickly. We don't see much, but what it is important to understand here is that the project team that managed the project was constituted of employees of Quebec City Airport. So we had an expert of each engineering discipline or architect or anything else, name it, for the construction. So an expert was in relation with the professional in his discipline. That helped us for us to make it more alive for the experience we want with the passenger, so the passenger first. And it also helped us a lot to have a good report on the situation and a good clarity of what is going on. I will move on. So once they do that, what they're telling us is, we're going to empower you for the project. We trust you enough to do so. So go and start the project. So what do we do now? Oh yeah, just before, I want to talk quickly about the empowerment when we talk with the management team. What helped us a lot with empowering the team of the project management. For the management team, it helped them because they are there as support. They are not there for technical decision. Sometimes in an organization, they will try, the management team, to have too much details, which is not good for them because they still have an organization to run. And also, which is not good for us because it's going to create a bottleneck for the project because they have already a lot of workload, and those decisions or calls will just sit on the desk and it won't go forward. And for the project team, we believe that it created a lot of more sense of responsibilities, because you have the power to do a good project, so you take the responsibilities in consequence. And we also saw an increase of success, because we knew we could do some mistakes. So by knowing we can do the mistakes and take the call that goes with it, we also knew that if the decision was not the right decision at that time, we will do everything in our power to minimize the impact and make it better for the future of the project. And also what we see is a good improvement in all the processes we use, because we are the master of the processes, we do it the way we want, and we are the user. So we're not gonna make it harder for us, we try to make it as easy as possible for us. So now they tell us that they've told us, we trust you, go ahead, do the project. What do? We can't just do the project and deliver it in 5 years and say, yeah, everything went well. We hope you enjoyed the ride and you saw it going. We had to show them that they did well, to trust us, and that it was a good decision. So what we did for that as a project management team is we tried to develop as much as possible on the Ds of the BIM. I will show you in the next slide. We try to collaborate as much as we can. We communicate with the direction, and together we add a lot of new technological use, and we also add a good vision for the life cycle of the buildings. So if we talk quickly about the Ds of the BIM, I won't talk about the 2D or 3D. I think everybody knows what it is here. I believe that when we started to do the 3D, that's when the fun starts. Because in fact we try to explore as much as we can on the 4D, 5D, 6D, and 7D. It was hard for us to go on 4D and 5D because the software were not there at the time. We did it as much as we can, but we did it separately with other software that were running in parallel. But what it is for the 6D, that's what one of the spheres that we explore the most. So with the 3D model, we did a lot of analysis of the energy we're gonna use for the terminal. And that helped us to take decisions. So that helped us to see what will be the ROI on that kind of system versus that other kind. So that's why we decided at one point we won't go with solar panel, obviously, because now the technology doesn't permit it. And we decided to go with geothermal energy. And as a fun fact, the geothermal energy was running for the first time this winter, and we didn't start our boiler until mid-January. So I repeat that we are in Quebec City, so the cold starts in May, or no, but it starts in September. So that is a big achievement for us, because that's running on free power, if we can say it that way, since October to mid-January. So that is good. And for the 7D, I won't talk about it right now. We will see it further in the presentation. So for the collaborating part, what did we do? We tried as much as possible to make a big team out of the project. So we created a project office in an old helicopter hangar. So we had to invest in that, but once it was created, everybody worked there. So the professionals were there, the client, which is us, was there, and the construction team was there. So we were able to take decisions on the spot, have a good collaboration in the team, and that helped a lot with the processes, because we were able to eliminate as much as processes as we can by having on-the-spot call and real discussion. Also, what we did for that, we separated the server of the airport, so we had a complete server for use of the project team, so we could manage the security we wanted to do it. I won't hide that it was not that easy for the server part, but if we have to do a project again, we already know the way we're going to do it. After that, for communication, like I told you, we needed to show the management team that it was a good thing to trust us. So we created that kind of report that was directly linked to our budget management software. So quickly, that report just showed the cost, the scope, the schedule, all the management team want to see. And we also added in it a place that we talk about the next milestone we're going to do in the project. And that's one we see, but there's one for every 37 projects that are in the main project I was talking earlier. And we also add a section for the risk assessment, just to show them that we know what's going on in the next month, and we are going to take those measures to mitigate it. So it's nice to collaborate, it's nice to communicate. How we do it, by being together in the project office, obviously, but what helped a lot is the use of a lot of technologies. I won't go over those technologies, I just want you to understand that except from the two other technologies that we see for maintenance and budget management, all those technologies were new for everyone that worked on the project, so we had to learn them. It went well. We had a good learning curve to apprehend and to try to go on with, but once it was done, we all love to use those technology, and it makes it easy for us right now. So I suggest you try to develop a technology that's, like I mentioned earlier, because the management team were true believers, it was easy for us to start doing that and arrive with something new. Okay, so now for the life cycle vision. We all know that BIM is not only about a 3D model. We can all say that, and we can all laugh when someone says BIM is a 3D model. But what do we do a part of that, and how are we going to manage that? So that's what we try to do as much as we can. We try to cover the whole life cycle with the data we have, and if possible with the 3D model we have. The way we try to achieve it is by understanding the vision of the VP, Vice Presidency we are under. So if we look at it quickly, we see that the Vice Presidency is having a planning department, a project department, and a maintenance department. If we look at BIM, as minimized as we can, we see that a BIM project, if we want to make it successful, is before the project, during the project, and after the project. So if we arrive to interconnect the three departments we add, we will be able to have a successful BIM project. So that part was not the easy part. We had to sit all together. We will ask, as the project team, what do you need from us in the maintenance? And the answer was, everything. So you want everything? Okay, we're going to sit and talk about that. Do you really need everything? Do we need to really ask everything for the contractors, or do we really need to ask everything from the planning team? The answer is obviously no. And so we sat together, we spoke about it, and we arrived with finally what was the real added value for the project and what was really needed. So the next slide, most of you won't like that. We used an Excel sheet, the good old Excel sheet. Yeah, I know, thumbs down. But in fact, that was the easiest one for us because we had a lot of questions occurring during the project, and that was not even statuated at the beginning of the project. So we had to develop something for the contractors and for us while the project was already running. So what we did is that we make mandatory this sheet to fill by the contractors. Now it looks pretty small, but I think it's like in Excel, it's maybe 100 tabs of 100 columns each. So every equipment is there. And sadly, it's not interactive in the Excel sheet, but what we have is the first column that will remain always the same ID and that we can push in every software we can, and that we can push back also on the Excel sheet to make it live information that we can reach on. So quickly what we see is that we have the identification of the equipment, which was done by the project team and the project professionals. And we also have the 3D model link that we request in it. And after that, we have all the stuff that we need for the maintenance of and the operation of the building. So we have the technical sheet that goes directly in that file, and we also have everything that we need for maintenance as the lifetime, the warranty, who is the supplier if we want to buy it back again, what is the cost. So we're pretty proud of that because right now we can use it the way we want, and we're able to push it everywhere we want and every software we use. So like I said, in fact, we just achieved a methodology that makes us able to pull or push the data. You see it the way you want if you're before the data, you will say push, and if you're after, you'll say pull. But the important thing to say is that the data is live. We give it to everybody who wants to use it, and we will be able to use it again in another project because it is still live in the maintenance department also to modify it. So it's easy to say, okay, we achieved a good project, we made it clear for everyone, we are all proud. It's easy for an owner to say that everything went well. So what we did at the end of the project, we did a big post-mortem, and we tried to add the real situation from those people who worked in the project directly. So we will share those documents that we are now compiling, but we had an overall good satisfaction of the project. We see that the people that worked in it are very proud and see that there is a lot more social interaction in those kind of projects, and they liked it for making on-the-spot decision or making a cold call of themselves. And when we go to the management team and we say, what do you see in a BIM project? And I spoke with the CEO not less than 2 weeks ago, and he said, what we like about it is that we feel that we are in control of the project. So I think that's the most important that you have to remember, because they feel they are in control while they decided to empower us as much as they can at the beginning. So that's where we believe as a project team we did the good part of it, and we made it possible for them to follow it quickly. We used Oculus technology to show them what would be the building. So it was clear for them where we were going. And another thing they mentioned me that I liked also to hear is, because we started with the 3D model and we started with a new structure that was very clear, when it was time to have investment in the project, usually when we are having a standard project, the investor will come back and say, okay, we will go see the data, we will analyze it on our side, and we will come back to you if we want to invest. The general answer we had at that time with this project was, that's good, if you want more money, just come and see us. So that helps everybody that want to start a project. So right now, what is the vision for the next years? We want to go forward what we are doing right now. So we expect to maintain our momentum in the BIM project we are doing. So what we intend to do is to develop our expertise internally. We want to have more people working on BIM directly, so we will be able to audit ourselves, see if what we receive and what we give is really right, and also develop the new contracts we will use. So we want to try to integrate BIM in all the projects we have at WQB City, at WQB Airport. Don't be scared. We won't do 100% BIM in every project we do. Once again, it's a game of where is the added value. So if we do a 1 million project, we may not request a 3D model, but we want to keep the vision of a BIM project, a BIM philosophy there. And the contractors must be ready at Quebec, because right now we have difficulty to find sometimes contractors that will even work on a CAD. So they have a big step to do there. And also, like I mentioned, the Excel sheet that we use, we would like to make it much more interactive between all the software we use and live for everybody to use it. Also, what we were able to make understand to the management team is that we need to manage the information we have as an asset. So 3 weeks ago, we had a presentation with them, and we had a go for going with an asset management plan. Maybe you're thinking, oh boy, an airport with no asset management plan. That must be great. Yeah, it's not that great for now, but we did a lot of work over the last years, and now we are ready to implement the asset management plan and develop on the capital plan also over it. So we are doing it as the Department of Infrastructure, first of all, as a pilot project, and we would like to start it with all the departments afterwards. So we will be able at the end to have everybody connected in the same platform with the same data and be able to take a strategic decision as an organization, which is not possible for us right now because we don't have valid data to base our decision on. Also, the vision, much more large. The CEO was a visionary when he started BIM and wanted to do BIM. But now I think he is somewhere else. He knows that BIM is running and that we will continue it. So what we want to do for the next years, first of all, the first thing we need to do is to try to control the confusion around BIM. When we say that, and when I talk to someone at the airport and I say, I have something to talk to you about for the BIM and all those stuff, oh, not you again and your 3D model. And I stay polite here because sometimes it's just go away with the 3D model. It's not 3D model, they must understand that. Not everybody understands that now, and that's what we try to do. And to educate them or maybe change the terminology we use. We don't know what we're going to do, but we must make a change on that. Also, we want to virtualize the project office. We did a project office. It was nice for us. It's not for everybody to reach the capacity to have a project office. You need funds to do it. You need place to do it, which we had at that time. So we want to be able to centralize information in a cloud or a software that will help us collaborate for two reasons. First of all, we think it's a big contradiction with all the technology we have right now to have an obligation to put everybody on a physical site. And it will help us to achieve more experience because we will be able to go see people around the world. Okay, you did that kind of project, we need you for 2 months. Just join us there and we will have meeting and we will develop around it. And finally, we are already talking about blockchain. The CEO made it clear that he want to go in that way. Honestly, we just know the surface right now. We know that we need to deep dive in this and develop around smart contract. It's easy to say now on a PowerPoint, but we really, really want to try to understand that properly and make it better for the construction industry via smart contracts. So that's pretty much it. When we did that presentation, firstly, I think I spoke for an hour and the people told me, no, you gotta do it for 30 minutes. So I cut it a lot. I tried to go to the essential, but I hope you're gonna either ask question or come to talk with me afterward if you need any more explanation. So question time.
Hi, I'm Keely Dickerson with SolidCAD. Yesterday when we did the YYC, they talked about how they handled the permitting process with the City of Calgary and how they couldn't share the model with the City of Calgary, obviously because of the size. But I just wondered, in your group, your organization, where was the City of Quebec? And how did you interface with them?
In fact, the airport is a small city. So we are totally independent of the City of Quebec. In fact, we are on federal land. So we operate the way we want. We are not restricted to the laws of Quebec, but we try to stick to them as much as we can because we are still in Quebec City, which has two impacts. It's good for us because we can go forward and we don't have to wait for a big city that is much more longer to adapt to those new technologies. But also, it is harder because we still need to take in consideration every aspect of a city. So we may not have the same amount of equipment, but at least we always have one of them. So for the piping that are underground, everything for the infrastructure, the civil works, the runways, we have everything that the city has. The electricity is always on our own. We receive it from Hydro-Québec and then we share it on our own distribution system. So that's the hard part for us because we don't have the same structure, the same amount of people to work on it. But we try to do it as best as we can. But we are separated from Quebec City.
I'm going to be louder. Just one question. I think I'm looking for clarification on the team structure. What I'm understanding is that the Quebec airport team designed the airport. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you talk about the different teams, the management team. Is the planning team, so I cannot get the clear idea how you guys were structured. Were you designing the
No,
airport?
in fact, in a standard project, if you go the fastest way, you will, as a client, make contracts with professional for MEP, every kind of professional. That's what we did. But after that, we didn't have one project manager that managed the whole project. We had an expert within Quebec City Airport that was dedicated to the project as an MEP expert. We had another one as an architect expert. We had another one for the civil expertise and another one for construction. So that's how we did it. We were not going to sign plans. We were not designing properly in the softwares, but we were always there to challenge and see if it was going the way we wanted. So every question was going through the expert, and then it would report to the project manager.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay, as a owner, you guys decided to go with the BIM process. My understanding is it was pretty new for you guys to. Okay, so how did you implement? How did you design a process, a BIM process, without having the knowledge? Did you have to hire a consultant to?
Yeah,
that
we did. In fact, the consultant we use is BIM1 that is here today. And they helped us to start with the guidelines. And as I mentioned, the BIM was not really started in Quebec City when we started to do the airport. So we started the best way we can. And what is nice with BIM and all the planning we do around it is it is modelable, and you can modify it the way you're going through the project. So that's what we did. We started with something, and now it's totally different from what we had at the beginning. And if we do another project, it's going to be totally different from what we have now. So that's the other part in BIM. We're going to be able to share, because if someone starts something, now we did a lot of the job. So let's share it with you. And when you will finish your project, let's share it with us, and we will be able to upgrade BIM very much faster than we are doing now.
So for your future project, do you have a BIM process requirement during the design?
We will. Yeah, in fact, we're going to change all the contracts. That's what we are working on right now. We will have a BIM process, but I don't want to enter in too much of the technical, but we must be careful with the BIM process and to make it mandatory to some people. And what we were talking again yesterday in the owner committee is we will make it clear for us what we want at the end, what are the deliverables, and the way to make it happen. That's up to you. And as long as you respect what we are asking at the end of the project. So is it clear enough as an answer? Or
Kind of.
what do you want to know more?
Well, I mean, you want to be involved with the process, obviously.
Yeah.
So you need some kind of collaboration process, collaboration tools. You want to probably be involved with the coordination.
Yeah.
So you need a structure in place. So you need some kind of a requirement to a contract to make sure that it's happening. Otherwise, you're opening a door for,
But we already have the processes in the contracts we have right now, and what we will make clearer is what is the technology we're going to use for that. So right now, we know what are the processes, and we are using a software that is called BIM Track or BIM Field. We also use that. And that was harder to install sometimes because people don't want to get engaged in that. So that's the hard part of the processes, I think. Once you know as a client what you expect of how the project will be managed, then you're going to make it happen for real. It's nice on paper, but how do you do it in real life? So what we will do in the contracts is just to make clear what we're going to use. When you start a project, you're going to be on that type of software. You're going to know how it works. You're going to be responsible for forming your team. We will do it once at the beginning, and after that, it's in your hands. But the contracts still need to be changed a lot on our side for the BIM side.
Last question is, I've noticed among the software or products you were using, you were not using collaboration for Revit.
No.
Are you planning to use it in a future project? And could have been useful to use it? You might have started the project before it was available, but...
We started a project before collaboration for Revit was powerful. I'm not sure if we're going to use it because once again, if we start on ourselves, a big project like that will happen in 2 or 3 years. So what's going to be there in 2 or 3 years? We don't know yet. So we don't want to get stuck with one kind of a software. We want to make it clear for us where we want to go. And when the project starts, then we start with the software and we decide what we are going to use. So I don't want to answer, yes, we're going to use collaboration for Revit.
Okay, you and me, we need to talk in French after.
That's it. Thank you.